Hi, my name is Jessica Jimenez. I'm 22 and I received bariatric surgery. The surgery that I had was a vertical sleeve gastrectomy where they remove 85% of your stomach, leaving just the part that doesn't expand. Growing up, I grew up in Spanish Harlem and I come from a Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican background. So my food at home wasn't the most healthiest. I played a lot of sports growing up. Since I was 8, I played softball, and that helped to aid like sustaining my weight, but I never really was able to lose it, along with like just having a bad diet just from the way that I grew up. I come from a family that is relatively big, so it was very much so genetics that played a part. And when I got to college, I learned that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which means that I have more testosterone than estrogen in my body, which causes me to bulk instead of be able to lose weight. I decided my sophomore year of college to join the rugby team, and about a year into playing rugby, I tore my inner meniscus on my right knee, and from that injury, I was out 6 months. Due to not being able to really work out and being inactive, along with emotional eating, I gained 40 pounds, and at my peak, I was 250 pounds. I didn't really know what to do, and my mom suggested to do bariatric surgery. My mom received a lap band bariatric surgery my freshman year of college, and the first 6 months she lost 80 pounds. So it seemed to be working and be relatively healthy. I really didn't want to do it because to me it was a form of giving up, and it took me 6 months to finally decide that it was a good idea.
With Jessie, she was overweight from when she was 8 and on. Before that, she was always really skinny. So I started noticing, she had low self esteem. And no matter how much I told her how beautiful she was and how pretty she was, she wasn't accepting it. And I know she got that mainly from me because I had low self esteem because I gained so much weight when I got pregnant with Jessie. For me, one of the points that hurt me was graduation day from high school. We were looking for a dress, couldn't find anything. We were in the mall and we were in the dressing room, and she collapsed on the floor crying hysterical because nothing fit her. And that broke my heart. That's my child. And watching her on the floor crying because nothing fit her was hard. And I kept telling her, don't worry. Jessie, as you know, is very active. But when she injured her knee in rugby, she started gaining even more weight. So I always talk to her about the surgery because I did the lap band and it helped me out a lot. And when I used to bring it up to her, she's like, no, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to do it on my own. I can do it. And I'm like, all right, all right. But when she came home last winter, she was just so big. I mean, she was the biggest I've seen her. Her back was so huge that when I looked at her, I looked at Al, her dad, and was like, she's getting too big. And he was like, no, she looks fine. I'm like, no. And I was concerned for her health because her knee kept giving out. She kept having a lot of injuries. And I can see that she was getting depressed. Because if you know Jessie would fix herself up. She got to the point where she wasn't doing her hair. She was always wearing sweats. Every time I would go see her, she was just looking really grungy. And I'll be like, Jessie, come on. And that's not Jessie. So, and she's like, oh, Mom, I'm tired, So for me, I know the signs because I went through it where I didn't want to fix myself up. One day she just came up to me and told me, she's thinking of doing it. So I told her what steps to do, and I told her I think it's a great idea, only because I know that it would help motivate her to keep getting more healthier, and it has. It's hard, and I told her, do you regret it? And she tells me no. She goes, sometimes I get upset. She goes, but I don't regret it. And she was just here last weekend. I see it in her smile. I see it in her walk. I see it in her confidence. So I love it. I got my Jessie back, so I love it.
I had my surgery on May 20th, 2015. There's 5 incisions on my abdomen, and the surgery was laparoscopic, which means that it was done through cameras, and so they're small incisions. I wasn't in that much pain. There was about 2 weeks of healing time. The only thing that hurt was the one incision that went right through my abs because it is the biggest, and that's where they removed the stomach from. I have to make sure that I eat healthy and drink more water than a normal person, because now that my stomach is smaller, it seems to absorb nutrients and water far easily than a normal person. So I have to keep hydrated and fed at a constant. If I don't, I end up in the hospital. I recently ended up in the hospital for having skipped meals and not eating the way that I was supposed to, and playing rugby at the same time. I was vomiting, and they checked my GI tract to make sure that everything was healed and fine. And they found out that I had Candida, which is a form of yeast that grows in excess due to stress and stress vomiting, and that's what was happening to me, and I had to be hospitalized. So that happens more often, again, like I said, when I'm not eating the way that I'm supposed to, or I'm not drinking as much water as I'm supposed to. I eat about 5 meals a day. I ate 3 big meals, 2 small ones. Now that I play rugby, that it's been moved up to about 7. And I can eat about a half a cup of food per meal. So it sounds like a lot of food, but it's really not. It's literally a half a cup of food that I'm allowed to ingest at a time. I can always gain the weight back because what I removed was the part that expands, so the pouch of the stomach. So what can happen is it can naturally grow back, and if I don't eat the way that I'm supposed to or eat in excess, it can grow back, and I can gain all the weight back that I have lost so far. So that's one of the effects. Is it's not just a quick fix, it legitimately is a lifestyle change because I can always reverse it.